Everyone knows the good-looking cop, but back when Leon S. Kennedy first showed up in 1998, he looked like this. Polygonal, clunky, and definitely not the heartthrob people obsess over today. 2 years after the first masterpiece, Capcom returned with a bigger, more refined take on the Umbrella Corporation and Raccoon City story. This time, it follows a rookie cop on his first day on the job and a redhead searching for her brother, Chris Redfield. So sit tight, because today we're playing
Resident Evil 2.
This is a game that produced me numerous nightmares as an infant. It impresses me how some jagged polygons and some questionable voice acting traumatized an entire generation. Today, as an older being, it's easier to appreciate just how brilliantly Capcom worked within the hardware limits to create one of the finest survival horror games ever made. The fixed camera angles, the pre-rendered backgrounds, and the stubborn tank controls all came together to boost Resident Evil 2 to the 12th most sold title in the PlayStation 1 with over 5.7 million copies. The game follows two protagonists again, Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield. Their paths converge on September 30th, 1998, roughly 2 months after the horrors of the Spencer Mansion in the original Resident Evil. The pair arrive in Raccoon City only to find the entire place swallowed by chaos. Zombies are everywhere. Forced to escape and seek shelter, they decide to make their way to the city's police station. Leon has not clocked in yet. But thanks to one zombie hiding in the backseat and another behind the wheel of an oncoming tanker, you got a huge accident that forces their ways apart. They agree to regroup at the Raccoon Police Department, assuming they survive. This is where you'll choose your protagonist. On the original PlayStation release, the game came on 2 discs, one for Leon's story and one for Claire's, because back then, one disc simply could not contain all the madness. No more talk, no tutorial, you're left on your own in the streets of Raccoon City with zombies crawling your way. This was enough for many people to turn off the console and turn on the lights. You might be a cop and have a pistol, but the understanding of the concept of the genre comes in handier. Survival horror. You are meant to survive, run, save resources, and live to tell the story. Leon's 100-meter dash got us into a gun shop owned and protected by its living owner, the iconic Robert Kendo, who lowers his shotgun after realizing we're not infected. Things have calmed for now, we take some ammo without permission, and everything is going well until... Poor Kendo. The running resumes, but the game introduces a shift. Advancing through alleys suddenly forces you to face the undead. Sprinting is no longer an option. Pew pew pew. The good news is that we finally reached the game's most iconic location, the Raccoon Police Department, where Leon was supposed to begin his first day and where Claire's brother serves as a STARS member. Here's where that legendary soundtrack first kicks in. The first time you save in the typewriter, and where you realize there was a welcome party awaiting for Leon, stained by the realization that no place is safe, where beaten Lieutenant Marvin Branagh orders the rookie to survive one way or another. This is where Resident Evil 2 truly begins. 3 floors, 2 wings of a really odd design architecture of a police station. This game is truly one straightforward labyrinth, where answers come first, questions later. Because as you progress, you will encounter tools that will have a purpose. You just need to find what that purpose is. Another popular debut on this title is no other than the Lickers. Skinless, big brain, and apparently very upset about dermatology. If you ask me, these mutated zombies are among the most unsettling enemies in the entire series. They are blind, but for this reason, their hearing is sharp, which means walking past them is often the smartest option, but the game will consistently force you to go through them. I found this revisit to Resident Evil 2 not only refreshing, but also vastly improving of what was done in the original Resident Evil. The progressing through the areas was much more simpler, puzzles were less frequent and far less vague, the backtracking is still there, but minimized, or at least the traveling times reduced. The story is also a lot easier to follow. When in the original, Chris and Jill were just reading the journal of every scientist, on this occasion the game takes advantage of the animated cutscenes and recurring character encounters to keep the player engaged and aware of the context. During the first hour, resources usually aren't a major concern, provided you're making every shot count. The horror angle and tension is built remarkably well, especially considering the hardware and the era. Much of that fear comes from your ability or inability to defend yourself. That hallway of 5 zombies is scary if you have 8 bullets in your pockets. The Licker is still scary regardless of the situation. What I found more challenging than resource management was the limited inventory space. You start with only 8 slots, 1 slot for your gun, 1 for ammo, a healing item or 2, the knife which is mostly decorative, and the ink ribbons that I pick up by accident. You're left with only a couple of open space for puzzle items. More than once, you'll find yourself using a healing item to pick an object. The STARS office is one of the most iconic locations in the game, located on the second floor of the eastern wing of the Raccoon Police Department. Here, Leon reunites with Claire and hands over Chris's diary, revealing that he's going after Umbrella. The reunion will have to wait. You can also find the shotgun here if you missed it earlier, along with the famous team photograph. For those who enjoy acronyms, STARS stands for Special Tactics and Rescue Service. Essentially, they were Raccoon City's elite tactical unit, comparable to a SWAT team. The tragic part is that they were unknowingly being used as lab rats. Umbrella heavily funded the organization, intending to observe its members in live combat against bioorganic weapons. Test subjects, pretty much. The head of the team, Albert Wesker, is also an employee of Umbrella, and the orchestrator of the events at the Spencer's mansion. A freak. There is one Easter egg that if you inspect his desk 50 times, you can pick up a piece of a film that will reveal his obsession with one of the team members, Rebecca Chambers. I genuinely wonder how do you find this. The game continues to escalate and progress with popularly remembered puzzles. The library puzzle, the various keys scattered throughout the station, the crank for the third floor, and the valve needed to extinguish the fire caused by the crashed helicopter. Half survival horror, half general work. One thing that surprised me because I didn't remember is just how quickly the game moves beyond the RPD. Compared to the remake, the police station is a much shorter section. If you know what you're doing, you can clear most of it in under an hour. Once you obtain the necessary key, the game wastes no time pushing you toward the parking garage, where we encounter Ada Wong, the Chinese spy who Leon magically falls in love with within 5 seconds, even though she's taken. He even takes a bullet for her. What the fuck? Oh, down here, evil dogs are back, sponsored by Dobermans. Since there is no other breed of evil dogs in gaming, they are big trouble. They run all over the place. I just avoided them the whole game. The main point of going down to the parking lot is because it marks the transition of the game towards the sewers. But right before you do that, in the cells, you find a person of interest, Ben Bertolucci, a reporter held for having crucial information regarding the Umbrella Corporation's involvement in the outbreak and the corruption within the RPD management, specifically highlighting the chief of the police station. For Leon, the man is just in prison for who knows what. Let's remember this is his first day at the job. For Ada, she knows what he is in for and can probably pick his brain for her ultimate goal, which is the acquisition of the G virus, the responsible virus for the weirder and grosser mutations. T virus creates zombies, G virus creates this. The reporter is infected by hand of who knows what or who. At first, all you really see is a massive claw and that enormous eye, the same one featured prominently on the game's menu. Ben ends up dying and his last request is for us to make everyone responsible pay. Shortly after, the creature gets in Leon's way of solving more puzzles. It's the first major boss encounter and it's evolving in real time in front of our eyes. Or I don't know. He spits out smaller organisms that can hold Leon in place and even produce poison state. It's not really a hard fight, but one that demands caution. After that, Leon says goodbye to the Raccoon Police Department and descends into the sewers alongside Ada. Hope you're doing well wherever you are, Claire. I know for a fact that arachnophobes do not like it down here. It's also in this part where Leon gets shot and control switches over to Ada. In the remake, she's barely played in the incinerator, while here she gets her own substantial section, as she chases the scientist that took several shots at us. I have to say, having her as a companion in zombie scenarios made the game feel more fun and save some ammo, of course. Through Ada is that we know more about the G virus, which is created by William Birkins, who also happens to be the horrifying monstrosity. His wife, Annette Birkin, the irresponsible mother who also shot Leon, her objective is to protect his men and deter anyone from putting their hands on his husband's creation. The interaction ends with Annette falling from the platform. Shortly after, Ada starts shooting at the sewer water. When Leon gets on his feet to see what's happening, a giant alligator launches his teeth at Leon. The Florida creature is such a massive bullet sponge. I mean, it makes sense. If a giant alligator gets infected with the T virus, that might happen, but allow me to complain. The easy solution ends up being shooting at a gas canister into the mouth of the beast. The day and the lady was saved after some animal cruelty. Then, Leon and Ada Wong keep moving toward the Umbrella lab, going through trams inside factory areas. On the way there, the mutated William Birkin jumps on top of the tram, incapacitates Ada out, and forces Leon to come out to play. It's another boss fight against Birkin. The setting is really awesome. The way he keeps evolving because of the G-Virus makes it clear that this is getting serious. In this fight though, tank controls feel like the bigger villain. Still, an upgraded shotgun can take him out in like 6 or 7 shots. Once the tram reaches the Umbrella laboratory, Leon carries Ada to a safe room. She tells him to leave her behind, but Leon promises he's getting them both out.
I'll only slow you down with these injuries. Go. Save yourself.
We're leaving this place together. Wait here for me. I'll be right back.
In this lab is where you come into the realization of the scale of the conspiration. It goes way beyond zombies. It's experiments on living people, on plants, it's just straight greed over humanity. The puzzles here are actually fun, but the Plant 42 specimens are really annoying to deal with. This part of the game feels tense, because you know you're getting close to the end, you want to be cautious about the bullets spent, even though at some point you will be dealing with 4 lickers at the same time. You restore power in the lab, and your way out is through an emergency elevator. Problem is when Annette Birkin explains everything about the G-Virus and Ada to Leon. She's a spy, and she's only after the virus.
That can't be. I know her.
No, you don't. You met her like 150 minutes ago. And like any horror story, everything starts going into self-destruct mode. Now you're on a timer trying to escape alive, and we barely even cross paths with Claire Redfield. G-Virus in hand and Leon about to escape, he's faced by the reality of Ada Wong. Only being after the G-Virus and not being interested in a love relationship with the man she met hour and a half ago. Then Annette Birkin shows up and shoots Ada. She thought the situation could be more dramatic. As Ada is about to fall, she grabs Leon's hand, hangs there for a moment, and then decides to let go. Truly a sad ending, but that's what you get when you lie. Leon is left there, heartbroken, finally decides to destroy the G-Virus. He then heads for the elevator, which happens to take its sweet time, even though it's for emergency situations. Oh, perfect timing, because that's your cue for the final boss fight against William Birkin. This is his final form, and you are on a 4-minute timer. No pressure, just your life on the line, one way or another. Time to bring out the Desert Eagle, the gun that embodies all of Resident Evil firepower, and if you're a veteran, you usually stay for this showdown. It's a great final fight. Birkin doesn't just stand there waiting for you to figure things out, he's constantly charging at you, often slipping out of your sight due to the camera angles, and then there's this constant feeling that you might not make it out based on the relentless aggression of that thing. Once William Birkin is finally put down, you head further down and reach the exit platform, where a moving train is moving, and there she is, the redhead hero herself, Claire Redfield, with an adopted blonde child, Sherry Birkin. They all managed to get on the train and escape. Against all odds, they made it out alive. Feels like a clean ending, but not really. Claire still has to find her brother, and Leon decides he's going to take the fight to Umbrella Corporation. Big goals for his first day on the job.
Goodbye, Ada.
My man just cannot let go. And that wraps up what's known as Leon A, the scenario you get for playing his disc first. Now, the game isn't actually done with you yet, now you swap discs. Leon is a runner. Claire is a greater runner. This scenario is much more aggressive version of the Raccoon Police Department from Claire's Redfield perspective. You will unlock the same areas of the police station as Leon, but in different order, which really sells the idea that both characters are moving through the same space without constantly bumping into each other. Claire's P perspective happens to be a lot more intense. Many areas will be swarmed from minute 1 and right in your face. Capcom thought you should be a seasoned veteran at this point. I do find it to have more backtracking than Leon A. The main and relevant differences with Leon's perspective is Sherry Birkin, daughter of William and Annette, that Claire decides to take care of out of the goodwill of her heart. Sherry's goal is to find her irresponsible parents. Claire just tries her best to keep her out of danger. Sherry also has her own section of the game. Number 2, Chief Brian Irons. Claire will detonate a blocked area by the helicopter, allowing her into the chief's room. You get to meet the corrupt head of the police station, who was on Umbrella's payroll. His fate is ripped in half by the monster himself, William Birkins. Number 3, Mr. X, who will be your stalker. I found it shocking how late he manages to appear, and how scary he is not if you decide to just go past him. Doesn't really matter if you kill him or not, he will show up later, until it's the very time to put him to sleep, because he is the final boss of this run. Claire is armed more generously than Leon. She's got her handgun, a grenade launcher with plenty of ammo, a crossbow, the spark shot, and even the SMG if you didn't grab it earlier with Leon. Claire solves many similar puzzles at RPD, explores a different side of the sewers, a fight here and there with Perkins, and sets foot on the factory and Umbrella lab. Ultimately, her angle of the story is to find her brother, who's not here, so let's save who we can, and that happens to be Sherry, who's being targeted by the Tyrant due to the G-Virus being hidden on her pendant. As opposed to the Leon run, you get to put the train in motion to escape, but a mutated final version of the Tyrant is your final boss. This time really is a tough fight because he is very fast. And one of the oddities of this then is that once you're close to finish Mr. X, a mysterious figure tosses you a rocket launcher, same voice as Ada Wong, which makes no sense because if I'm not mistaken she fell to her death, but timing is not clear. Ada was mysterious till the end. The Tyrant gets put out in the same fashion as Resident Evil 1, rocket launcher to the chest, and his flesh fireworks. Of course, nothing is ever that simple, the building is still going into self-destruct, so you got to get the train ready and get out. Story lace is quite nice when Leon S. Kennedy makes it in from what we know he was dealing with. This time, the credits don't come immediately. Perkins happens to be on the last wagon, refusing to die. Up to Claire to put an end to the nightmare. Defeating him in gameplay is not enough. In a cutscene, the train is going to blow up due to the built-in self-destruct system that triggered once Perkins got on. Sherry is seen setting off the emergency brakes of the train, the survivors jump out, and the creature was hopefully left behind. Kaboom! The survivors walk outside of the tunnel and leave to see the next day. Claire says,
I have to find you.
setting up the events of not Resident Evil 3, but Code Veronica in the PlayStation 2. And that's the original Resident Evil 2 for you. If you want more, there is more. You can play the different orders of the events and switch sides for Leon and Claire in this story to some extent. This is still a fresh experience if you never touched the originals, in my opinion. Most of the complaints you hear today are just features of the time, their identity. Resident Evil didn't start survival horror, but it absolutely redefined it. My name is Jourcelis, and with nothing else to say, good night. Resident Evil 2 is better than Zombie Gun 3D Apocalypse games.